when you're sloppy. Now, sloppy doesn't always mean what you think it means, okay? Yes, there are certain things that you can't be sloppy for, like, maybe just like general appearance, you know what I mean? You kind of have a way that you want to carry yourself. You're not like overly sloppy. I mean, I guess depending on the situation, right? Or like, you don't want to come into the house all dirty if you can help it, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are certain things that sloppy is not good for, but I think sloppy can genuinely be a really fun thing, a fun moment in your life. You know what I mean? You ever meet those people who do something so sloppily, but they still get the job done? Like, there's this girl I follow on YouTube. Her name is, I can't believe Lazy Pot Noodles. There it is, Lazy Pot Noodles. And she does like these cooking videos in like her dorm room or her bedroom or whatever. And she'll use like small cooking appliances to make like gourmet meals or whatnot, you know what I mean? Like, she'll craft some of the craziest stuff, you know what I'm saying? And she'll do it like, she'll whip out like a small little pot or whatnot, and she'll cook like chicken in there, then she'll cook some rice, or she'll cook like noodles or stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, she'll just make crazy stuff right then and there. And the crazy thing about it is that she does it all sloppily and like in front of her laptop, which is really funny. So she'll like slap down like some chicken on her bed in front of the laptop. No kitchen, no nothing. Just right then and there doing some crazy concoction, and she'll cook it in front of you. Now, obviously, it's like short form videos. It's like on, Reels and YouTube Shorts or YouTube or whatever, right? Like the short little clips of it. And they'll be posted on there, right? And then it'll be like cut up to make it look like 5 minutes or like a minute long, you know what I'm saying? But it actually takes longer. But my point being is that she'll do it so lazily that it's kind of like, you're like, why do I care so much? Like, why do I treat everything so, so precious? Or why do I like treat things so carefully? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yeah, I could just like, you know what I mean? Like slap a chicken down onto a cutting board with like force, you know what I'm saying? Or I could be a little messy here and there, you know what I mean? It's like, I could do that, And then when she's done, she'll like clean up a little bit or whatever. And then that's it, right? Like, what a brilliant way to do things. And I don't know, I feel like that's it's really a more fun way to cook, or like, from what I watch, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, it's like, it doesn't have to be the only way. And then if you take a look at the way that she cooks like that, and then you go out to like a more refined, culinary, simple place, right? Like, it feels like there's a lot less fun in there. You know what I'm saying? Like I was watching that movie Chef. I think I might have talked about that movie on this podcast. Well, anyways, that movie has a scene where Jon Favreau, who's the main character of the movie, spoilers for Chef, but like in the movie, he's like making a grilled cheese sandwich, and he's doing it in like this high profile kitchen, or like just in his restaurant kitchen or whatever. And he's cooking for his son. He's like checking to make sure the cheese is melted just right and the toast is toasted just right. And like, it's a simple sandwich, I know, but compared to a last minute prep on like a little griddle on your bed in front of your laptop, as opposed to a high functioning restaurant, it feels like there's a lot less fun to be had there, when you have when you have everything planned out, you know what I mean? The sloppy stuff, that's a little more fun. It's a little more chaotic, and it forces you to think on your feet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember in college, I had to like, not proud of this, but I would wait until like the last minute, procrastinate a little bit, to get my work done. And so I remember specifically for this one class, I can't tell you the class, not because it's a secret, just because I don't remember the class. But anyways, I had to type up this paper. And I'm not going to lie, I could have done it on the day before. Or like I could have done it any other time other than the due date. You know what I'm saying? But I had done it, you know what I mean? I had succeeded in the past, so why not try it again, you know what I mean? Until the last possible second to get it done. But anyways, I was on my computer and I remember it literally being 11:59, like 11:59, 51 seconds left on the clock. I submitted the assignment and bam, I got it in. I got it in somehow. And I'll never forget that moment of like, oh my, that rush of like being complete with the work. I'm probably wasn't my best work, you know what I'm saying? I rushed it a bit. I didn't really take into account all of the, you know how you have to give like you have to give like references or a bibliography at the end of it, you know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. And so but you know, it obviously wasn't the most solid work I could have done, but I got it done. And that kind of satisfaction at the end of it is like that rush of sloppiness turning into like formulating something, just creating anything to pass, you know what I mean? To get the grade in, to make my work possible. Now, in the long run, is this what you really want? No, right? Like, obviously, if it was a professional setting or if it was like a job, I would probably take it a lot more serious because there's obviously money on the line. Now, but the sloppiness of it, you know what I mean? The ability, the creation of that paper and then submitting it by the due date, that kind of a rush, you know what I mean, will never be had again, right? Like, because now I take things a little, well, as seriously as I can. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna mince words here, guys. I'm recording this a little bit at the last minute as well. So it's kind of why I brought up the topic, is that like I'm getting a little sloppy on these recordings and editings and uploads, but I'm getting it done nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's not the same kind of rush. I'm not waiting until like the last possible minute to upload this. You know what I mean? I got a couple hours and I'll finish editing this within like however long. It's not going to take long, like at all. So the basic premise is that like when you're sloppy, sometimes we get a little bit like, you know, we can be really hard on ourselves. We can definitely, well, I know I am sometimes, is that like, darn it, I could have done a better job at something, you know what I mean? If I had done something more worthwhile, or sometimes I'll do something a little bit like, I don't know, what's the right word? It's half-assed, or I'll do something a little bit like, if I had more time, or if I had really focused on it a little bit more, I could have really done the job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really could have done something worthwhile and something that was very possibly worth my time and could have helped a lot of other people out, or could have helped somebody. You know what I'm saying? But in the long run, I feel like that sloppiness, or the ability to like level up, is a lot more fun. You know what I mean? It's you know, the difference between like doing something really controlled and calculated and like perfect, and getting results, right? Like, you do something that's like, I know what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get it done early, it's gonna be perfect down to the letter. And like, imagine if I had done that paper, if I'd done my like homework or assignment or whatever, like on the day of, and I used my work like as effectively and as efficiently, and I got all the references down, I got everything down to the last letter, every single dot, period that I could have put into a sentence, or every sentence was meticulously like chosen and specific, and the words I used, and every single letter in that paper could have been perfect, right? And had I submitted it probably would have gotten me a lot higher results, okay? But in the end, getting it done, or getting the job completed, right? That's all that matters. You know what I mean? I don't know, like, if you're a driver, let's say, okay, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna drive somebody completely safe, I'm gonna obey the rules of the road, every speed limit and this or that or whatnot, and it's like, okay, sure, great, You're a great driver, nonetheless, right? But then you get another driver who's like, I'm gonna go crazy. Like, I'm gonna just drive how I feel I need to drive. You need to get to the airport really quickly. I'm your man. I'm gonna help you out here. You know what I mean? And if it's like, oh, okay, we got to go across town or whatever. It's like more of a leisure drive. All right, bet. You know what I mean? Well, I'll take that easy. You know what I mean? No rush, just a leisurely drive. I'll do my best. You know what I mean? Somebody who can like balance the rules a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Now, which one is better? I guess it really depends on your attitude or what you need. You know what I'm saying? But my point being is that like, sometimes the sloppiness, that unexpectedness, like it's what gives life a little excitement. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever think about like how in wars, right? Like let's say like in the past, you know what I mean? When this country was, you know, when America was first being created, there were a lot of wars, okay? And in these wars, if it's like, you know, you're fighting for America, you know, let's just say hypothetically here, okay? You're fighting for America, you know what I'm saying? You're like, we have this place, we want independence, you know what I'm saying? You're fighting the British or whoever's trying to like stop us. And then you come around and you're like, all right, we got to go to war. We got to fight, you know what I'm saying? And then you turn around and you're like, all right, I got to shoot somebody, I got to kill people. However it needs to be done, I'll do it. And now the logical thing is that like, you shoot them in the head and the chest or stuff. But what happens if like, you know, just like let's say you shoot them in the dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they die. You know what I mean? Is that guy any less dead because you missed the head or, you know, you missed the body or the chest, the heart, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that guy died, right? But he was the bad guy or he was going against your cause. You know what I'm saying? It's like, are you going to be like, well, that was a sloppy job right there. I shouldn't have done that. Or you're going to be like, you know, some people got to die by the dick. You know what I'm saying? You get what I mean? It's like, you got the job done. Whether or not that guy got shot in right there in his, you know what I mean? In his hoo-ha, or what's another phrase I got? Right there in his, you know what I'm saying? He got that blown off. And then he bled out. Right? You didn't need to do anything more or anything less. You got the job done. You know what I'm saying? You ever think about, or what about farmers? You know what I mean? Like our ancestral farmers. People who you would like grow carrots and stuff. And now you could be like, oh, well, you know, let's just say like, oh, Billy Bob over there has his like rows effectively planted. All of his carrots are grown perfectly. And then you have like, you know, Schloob over there with like a circle and like just a big hole of carrots, but they all grow, right? Like, who really cares? You know what I mean? If it's like controlled and like well spaced out and that all the carrots have room to like grow, you know what I mean? When they yield the same results, it's like he has carrots and then you have carrots. What does it really matter? You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, I don't deny that there is an effectiveness to growing certain plants and crops and whatnot, like in a certain way. But you know my point is that like, what does it matter if he's producing the results? You know what I mean? Sloppy or not, he's getting it done, you know? Or you ever think about like the hunters? The hunters, they would be like, hey, we got to go out there and kill cattle, or we got to go out there and we got to hunt down some boar, you know, some pigs, and really eat, you know what I mean? And we feast. So they go out there and they, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it may take them a couple of arrow shots or, you know, a knife or two, but like whether or not they cut that thing up or do it in one hit or multiple, it's like they still bringing home the bacon. You know what I mean? It's right there. And so all I'm trying to get across to you is that sometimes the sloppiness doesn't really matter as much as you doing what needs to be done. And as long as you do it, as long as you try, you know what I mean? Sometimes we don't always get the results. And you can attribute that to sloppiness, but that's where you can progress. That's where you can get better. You know what I mean? And these days it's kind of like you have to be the best because somebody's already the best. You know what I mean? Like, somebody is already really good at making music, that doesn't mean that you can't start. That doesn't mean that you can't fail. That doesn't mean you can't make a song that sucks and then turn around tomorrow and make a song that's really good. It doesn't mean that just because there's a $1 billion franchise, or like a video game that's like really successful and has like an amazing concept and idea and copyright, and they have patents on their stuff, that doesn't mean that you can't turn around and just be like, I have an idea for a game and I'm going to try for it, and if it fails, it fails, but I'm going to try my best, and you know what? At least I did what I could with what I had. And that's what we really need to start focusing on more of, is that like, you're doing the best you can with what you have. It's not about who has the better equipment or than the other. It's about who does the most with what they have available to them. And 9 out of 10 times you'll meet somebody who's like, I need this, I need that, I need that, I need this. It's like the higher up you go, you realize how much more these people need. You realize how much more they like you'll see somebody who's like when it comes to movies, I saw I saw Jackie Chan. He was talking about his movies on the Rush Hour movies, and he was like, the first movie was really good because we did it really quick. It was like scene after scene after scene. They did it really fast, the production. And then he said the second movie, it took a little longer, you know what I mean? We polished up some more scenes, and the movie wasn't as great. And then the third movie was the worst because we took too much time and we used too much money. It was like, it wasn't the nonstop go. And the same goes for like Sylvester Stallone when he was talking about the Rocky movies, is that like, I've probably mentioned this before, but the studio was pressuring him to make the movie in like under 30 days. So that because of, they were giving him a shot here, you know what I mean? And so they were like, we don't want you to be the lead actor. We want somebody else. We want you to sell us the script. You can be the lead actor, but you have to get it done in 30 days. If you don't get it done in 30 days, we can pull the plug on your movie, yada, yada, yada. And it was just a whole hassle, you know what I mean? But he got it done in 30 days, in 28 days, I guess. No less. He got it done in that time frame. And because he got it done in that time frame, that movie came out and it was like the biggest deal in the world. And then the second one, it took a little longer to make. And then the third one, and the fourth, and the fifth, and so on and so forth. Like the production, the time, the quality, and all that stuff doesn't really matter all that much, just as long as you got the idea, you know what I mean? That first Rocky movie really holds the most value to him, at least. I saw him rank them. Maybe his opinion has changed over time, but you know what I mean, is that like the difference in that first one, when everything was on the line and he had to do it, no doubt you have to do it in under 30 days, or otherwise we're ruined, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise you're ruined. So stuff like that you have to think about and consider, and I don't know. He did everything he could with what he had. And then you have to look around and say, like, I can do anything I can with what I have. And sometimes you're limited. And sometimes it's not going to be huge production. Sometimes it's not going to be millions of listens or millions of views. Sometimes it's not going to be instant money. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be a money machine. But if you keep at it long enough, eventually you'll get there, you know? Nobody who is genuinely passionate about something, or somebody who genuinely tries, fails, I feel like. And if they do, there's like little to no regret, you know what I mean? It's more so like, I have to focus on maybe my reality of the situation, you know? There's nothing wrong with chasing your dreams as long as you're, living with your reality, you know what I mean? Or working on it at least, right? But my point is that, like, when you're sloppy, it's an exciting time. It's a fun time to like throw things at the wall and seeing what sticks there, you know what I mean? Having fun and messing around and not taking everything so seriously. Because when you see people who like started out, it reminds me of that movie, oh my goodness, The Menu. Another spoiler for another movie. Spoiler for The Menu if you haven't watched it. It's with Anya Taylor-Joy and Nicholas Hoult, I think, and I'm forgetting. I'm blanking on his name. He's fantastic. He plays Voldemort in the Harry Potter movies. But it was in the movie the main guy, the guy who plays Voldemort. I forget his name. Darn it. He's such a great actor. He was kind of like disappointed with the way that the culinary system or the critics or the people who like reviewed his food felt criticized him or made him feel about his job and his work and his value and whatnot, you know what I mean, as a part of it. But you know, he remembered when he first started like flipping burgers and making food and how much passion and love he had for cooking. And he was reminded of that while making a burger, you know what I'm saying? And that's it. That's what we're talking about here. As we get better at our craft or we get to like a higher place of doing things, sometimes you miss a little bit of the magic. Sometimes you're kind of like, darn it, I wish I was doing this with like something else or when I was starting out or, you know, I don't know. But that's why like some of that like money or like the starting out with like all of the high tech stuff or all of the best things available to you. That's why sometimes it can be a bit of a letdown or it's like, you know, when you get used to the money or you like, what's the right word I'm trying to say here is that like, when you're like, oh snap, I got the money like early on, it ruins you a little bit because you're not like used to building up to anything. You know what I'm saying? If everybody started out with like the best thing right off the bat, we would all like stay in a straight line of neutrality, you know? It's when we're at the bottom and then we're able to climb inch by inch by inch up and up and up. We see like we're getting better, you know, at what we do or what we don't do. We learn from our mistakes. We go up, we go down, that kind of stuff. But when you're sloppy, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more. There's not much to worry about. It's like, well, you're already sloppy. You're already like bad at this. It's kind of like the phrase where it's like well, not a phrase, but it's kind of like the thought process of like, well, if I'm already late, I might as well be late. You know what I'm saying? It's like you wake up late for work. You know what I mean? And it's like, I could rush over to work and be like 5 minutes late. No problem. Or I could stop and get a coffee somewhere and be like 15 minutes late. You know what I mean? If I'm already late, you know what I mean? Do I want to be late by 5 minutes or 15? Now, obviously, you wouldn't want to be late at all. But I'm saying is that, like, you show up to work with maybe like a coffee, a bagel, something small for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that is kind of like, you're already a little bit sloppy. You're already a little bit behind. Might as well bend the rules a little bit. You know what I mean? So, that kind of stuff is... I like that kind of stuff, you know? I kind of like those moments where it's like, now all the time. Don't get me wrong, this isn't an all the time thing, all right? There's certain times where it's like professionalism, and you have to be straightforward and clean, all right? You can't be sloppy-doppy all the time, you know what I'm saying? But it happens, you know? And when it happens, you could either beat yourself up over it, or you could be like, you know what? I'm a little sloppy, you know what I mean? These things happen, and because they happen, you're like, is it the end of the world? You know what I mean? It's like, I could obviously improve, and I will improve, but it's just, you know, for right now, is there any way that I can, like, can I live with this? Is the better thing. Is that, like, can I live with this sloppiness? You know what I mean? Now, you can't be sloppy about everything because then nothing would be, like, 100% functional, you know? But a little sloppiness here and there never killed anybody, and it's definitely like, hey, you know, just gonna be a little sloppy with it today. Take it a little, you know, do it a little lazily, I guess. Stuff like that, you know? So, yeah, I think when you're sloppy, you have a little bit more fun and you're not as uptight about things. You kind of appreciate things a lot more when they're a lot cleaner, you know? And you can notice the differences. So, stuff like that. Other than that, I don't know. Don't take things too seriously. Learn to chillax every now and then and smile when it's like not going your way a little bit, you know? I don't know. Just saying. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.